Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back, and I hope all is well with you guys. As always, I will point out that my English is not good, but if you have difficulty to understand, you can put your question in writing either in the commenting area or send it to me directly via the contact link that is in the description. Then, as soon as possible, I put the answer in writing, and hopefully, it will help you that way. Okay, we are continuing our journey into the world of malware. We are still in the first section, and this is the last episode in this section, which is episode 8. We are in this episode we are going to learn some common obfuscation techniques that is being used by the attacker, okay, or by the malware. Malware is the weapon, choice of weapon for the attacker. Okay, so uh, I will put I will mention 2 points here. The first point is that this episode will be longer than previous ones in this section, because here we are going to mention, I think, around 11 common obfuscation methods that used by malware, and still I may miss someone that I don't know or don't have knowledge. If you have, you can put it in the commenting area, and I will be very thankful for that, because in this platform, in knowledge sharing village, the goal is to share our knowledge with each other and learn from each other. Okay, so note that this obfuscation techniques used by malware can vary widely depending on the types of malware. This is the first factor. The second factor is the attacker's objective. The third factor is the defense mechanism put in place by the defense team. While this, while methods outlined here commonly used, malware creators may employ combination of these techniques or develops a whole new ones to enhance their strategies. The other factor, because the attacker always find new way and try to find ways to avoid being detected. Okay, the other factor that will come in place is the complexity of malware itself often dictates the sophistication of the obfuscation method being deployed. Okay, we can use a nice analogy here between the attacker and the defense team. Is It's like magician and its audience. Okay, just as magician can combine tricks, in our case the malware creator can combine many of these obfuscation method. Just as magician can combine tricks or invent a new ones to stay ahead of their audience, malware creators can mix and match variants of obfuscation methods or develop entirely new strategies to outsmart security systems. The complexity, then, here we come the last factor in our analogy. The complexity of the tricks, or in our case malware, often determines the sophistication of methods used. In both cases, the goal is to keep the audience, or in our case, we are talking about defense mechanism or defense team, guessing and unable to pinpoint exactly how the tricks or the malware is executed. Okay, I will mention again. The complexity of the tricks or the malware in our case often determines the sophistication of the methods used. In both cases, the goal is, this is the main goal, both the attacker and the magician goal. The main goal is to keep the audience, in the attacker case, it is the defense team or mechanism. In both cases, to keep the audience or the defense team or mechanism guessing and unable in the goal is to keep them guessing, and they are unable to pinpoint exactly how the trick or malware is executed. Okay, that was the analogy. And the first obfuscation mechanism that the attacker is going to use or no common is encryption. And you may ask, what is which objective can the attacker achieve by using encryption? The encryption, first of all, it involves encoding the malware code so that it appears as a random data to anyone who tries to read it. The malicious code is only deciphered when the malware is executed. The attacker encrypts the malware. When the security team sees the malware, they think, okay, no problem. It is just a normal data, a string of data. They maybe ignore it. The analogy that we can use is, think of the encryption. We can put it this way. Think of encryption like writing a secret message in a code that only you and a trusted friend understand. Okay, here we have you, for example, and at the other side you have your friend, you, and here is your friend, and here is the message that you have sent to your friend, and here we have the attacker. In our case, it is the defense team. Okay, even if the defense team intercept the message, they cannot read it. It is not readable for them. This is the goal of the attacker. They use this obfuscation techniques to hide the malware itself. For example, it involves encoding the malware code so that it appears as a random data to anyone who tries to read it. The malicious code is only deciphered. It will be only readable when the malware is being executed. Like when you send a message, your friend, it is readable only to your friend. Anyone in the middle who tries to intercept it, they cannot read it. This is the first obfuscation mechanism. The second is polymorphism. Polymorphism, what is this mechanism, you may ask? That is a good question. The polymorphic malware changes its code each time it executes or replicates, but the underlying malicious payload remains the same. In this case, after each time it is being executed or infect a new device, right? This is the two things. After each executing, it also means that it already infect that one. To avoid detecting, to avoid being detected. It changes its codes. So, but the content and the payload is the same. It's not changing the payload. Payload remains the same in the case of polymorphism, but it may change everything else. Okay, after each infection. The analogy that can be used here, imagine a shape shifting creatures that can alter. Okay, I forgot how to write alter its appearance every time it is spotted. It is the same with the malware that are using polymorphism technique or of this obfuscation techniques. Each time that they are being executed or infect a new device, the main difference is that the payload itself is not changing, but the vector they add the code around it, and we have talked about component of the malware, which was payload, vectors, and command and control. Yeah, I forgot. We had payload, right? Which the cause of the damage. Then we have vectors. Do you remember the other one? Honestly, I forgot. Obfuscation technique. I have cheated by this an obfuscation, which was which is the main topic of this episode. Okay, it may change these two, but this one remain the same. Okay, so if a malware is using polymorphism after each infection, it may change these two component, but the payload remains the same. It is like shape-shifting creatures that can alter its appearance every time it's spotted. The third mechanism of obfuscation is metamorphism. Metamorphic malware not only changes its appearance but also alters internal structure, including its encryption and obfuscation methods. So, it is a little bit different from polymorphic. Here, the analogy that will be helpful to learn this first again. Metamorphic, its malware not only changes its appearance, but it also alters its internal structure, including its encryption and obfuscation methods. So we can use the analogy to understand a bit better. It will be helpful. Think of metamorphism like a There is some kind of lizard. I'm not sure if I can pronounce it right. Chameleon. Ha, I'm not sure. Okay, chameleon. I'm not sure if I'm pronounced it correctly, but it is some type of lizard. This lizard has the ability that not only changes its color, which will be appearance right after each time they're being spotted, not only changes color, but also has the ability to rearrange its internal organ. So this is the metamorphism. Okay, if it was just the color, we talk about the polymorphism, but this lizard has the ability to change and not change, rearrange, changes the places or the location, rearrange its or internal organ. This is the analogy for metamorphism. The malware that uses this technique, again you may ask why use this technique, because the goal of this mechanism is to avoid being detected. Okay, so that the malware that using this technique, it's like the analogy, this lizard, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I have written down the name of it. It has the ability to change its color. If it was just a color, then we talk about polymorphism, but they have the ability to rearrange their internal organ also. That is the metamorphism. Okay, then the fourth obfuscation technique is called code injection. In this case, the malware designer use technique. It involves inserting malicious code into legitimate process or applications, making it harder for security tools to detect the threat. You have application that is designed to do a specific thing. The attacker somehow, this application can be program or application is the same, they are doing a specific task. The attacker has somehow found vulnerability, then they will insert their malicious code inside the code of this application or program. Okay, by doing this, it will be very difficult for the defense team to detect it, because it's not easy. Every program and application depend on complexity. They consist of maybe 1,000, 100,000 or million lines of codes. Okay, so that is the goal of the attacker. It involves inserting malicious code into legitimate processes or application, making it harder for security tools to detect the threat. The analogy that we can use here is, imagine imagine sneaking sneaking a fake. Imagine you are at the borderline, right? There are maybe 100 or I don't know how many person are there. Then the police say, okay, give me your passport. Of this hundreds, maybe one or two is fake. It will be very difficult for the police to detect if they are checking all of this 100 passport at the same time. There is maybe only one or two fake one in them. it will be very hard. Imagine sneaking a fake passport. I am not saying it is a good idea, but they can do that, right? Into a pile of genuine or legitimate genuine ones at a border checkpoint. Again, it depends which capability this checkpoint has. If it's not digital one, then you hand your password, and if there is fake one between them, it will be very hard for security team to check and detect that. Okay, it depends on the capability and the knowledge of that checkpoint. Okay, the fifth mechanism that can be used is called packers. Packers here, packers compresses or encrypt the malware's code into a smaller format. If the original size, we say, for example, original size of the packet is like this large, okay, if it is this large, what the packets do, it make it smaller, make that packet very small. The hope is, because when a program or application or data is very large than usual, then the security team obviously will and the security mechanism will flag that is, and say that it is not normal. The packer is to compact or compress the malware itself into a smaller package, but when it's reached a target, then it will um, but not receive. But here it is during the delivery, right? But when it's come to its target, it will receive or be in its original size. Okay, so packers compresses or encrypt the malware code into a smaller format. The malware unpacked itself and execute the original code when run, when being executed, when it reaches its target, it will unpack itself and run in the original size that it has. The analogy that we can use here is think of a pocket file like a pocket file like a wrapped, I am not sure if I have pronounced it correctly, wrapped a gift box that hides its content until you unwrap it. And I am not sure about my pronunciation, but I will write it down. Unwrap it. Say you will give a present to your friend, obviously to obscure and hide what it is, you put it in the you wrap it in the some kind of foil or cover, then you deliver that gift to your friends. Your friend does not know the content and what it is until it unwrapped the cover, and then it knows, okay, what is the gift. It's the same. The malware use the packers obscuring method the same way. In this case, the attacker put the malware code in the cover, in a cover, to hide its true nature and identity. But when it comes to its target and when it's time to execute, then um, the malware unwrapped itself and to execute and to do what it was designed to do. The sixth, the sixth obscuring mechanism is anti-debugging, and you may ask what it is. Anti-debugging techniques are used to detect if malware is being analyzed or debugged. Okay, so for example, if a security team is suspicious of a program, to analyze it, they will execute that program in a controlled environment to check its behavior. The attacker, using this so-called anti-debugging mechanism, to think to give ability to malware. Okay, for example, okay, if you detect that you are being analyzed, if you detect you are being analyzed, and then you should alter your behavior so that you do not act like you are a malware. You do something else that not seems to be dangerous or cause damage, so to avoid being suspicious. Okay, anti-debugging techniques are used to detect if malware is being analyzed or debugged. If it detects that is in the being analyzed or debugged, then it will alter its behavior or not executing else, or delaying, for example, its execution to avoid detection. The analogy that we can use here is imagine a magician. Imagine a magician who changes his act to in order to throw off anyone trying to uncover his secret. It is the same here about the malware. When it detects that it is being analyzed or debugged, then it will do something else. It was not in order to hide its true nature or functionality. You do something else instead, so that throughout the security team to avoid being detected. The seventh obscuring mechanism, obfuscation mechanism that can be deployed by the malware, is anti-sandboxing. It's a method called anti-sandboxing, and you may ask what it is. Anti-sandboxing is a techniques anti-sandbox sorry about my pronunciation. Anti-sandboxing techniques detect if malware is running in a virtual environment or sandbox. We'll not go into deep about what is sandbox and what is in virtual environment. It's basically a mechanism. It is the same of the debugging, but the difference here, the security team designed an environment with the help of virtual machines that simulate a computer system. Then, if when they see a malware or have suspicion of some program that is a malware, then they will uh, free this malware in the virtual environment unless it's to execute. Then that way they can know its behavior and how it works and functionality and each step and analyze. By doing so, they can uh, close those route of the attack that will be used by the malware. Then the attacker had put place mechanism and functionality for the malware to make it a little bit smarter. First of all, the malware is analyzing its environment. I'm in the real computer system or a virtual one. It is real or the fake one. If it is the fake one, it can do many things. For example, it can do something else, or it will not act at all. It will not be executed. By doing so, it hoped that to avoid being detected and show its true nature. The analogy that can be used in the anti-sandboxing is, think of it like it is like a spy avoiding illegal activities when they know, they have the knowledge, when they know they are being watched through civilians on a civilian no, not civilians. I'll see which good word that I can find here. We can use through a hidden camera. That is good. Hidden camera. Obviously, if you are a good spy, then you have knowledge of your environment. When you are suspicious that you are being watched somehow, then you'll try your best to avoid do any illegal activity to give evidence and confirm that you are a spy. It is the same with the malware. First of all, the malware are that have in its arsenal anti-sandboxing mechanism. They analyze the environment. If it is the real one, then they will execute. But if it is not the real one, and it is in the virtual environment, It depends on which function or functionality in that case the attacker had put in place. It will either altering its behavior or refusing to be executed when it's detected that it is not in real environment. So now we come the next one, obfuscation technique. It's called code obfuscation, and you may ask what it is. Here, code obfuscation techniques, uh, code obfuscation techniques modifies the code to make it difficult to understand, using techniques like renaming variables and to meaningless characters and adding redundant code. Basically, they hide the code itself into the another code, for example, or change the function's name, the variable name, into something meaningless, so that when it being intercepted by the security or defense team or measure, because often the security measure, if it is technical one, they search after keywords in the data that is flowing into the network or going out, right? Then the attacker changing those keywords into very meaningless one. Then when it passes through to the security mechanism will not suspect that it is a malware. Okay, so uh, the good analogy that we can use here is a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, we can say code obfuscation is like a jigsaw. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Okay, jigsaw puzzle with pieces cut in confusing ways. Basically, until you put all pieces together, you don't understand it. That is the goal here, to using code obfuscation mechanism. The attacker put each piece of the code of the malware in a way. If you try to analyze it, you think, okay, I don't. This is maybe just normal data or something like that. After you put all the places together, voila, you will get a malware that can do a lot of damage. So the ninth mechanism is called rootkit techniques. Here, rootkits hide their presence by modifying system files and kernel modules, concealing other malicious activities from monitoring tools. It will the goal here is to reach the core of the system itself. Okay, I know it is a little bit confusing, but with the help of analogy, maybe it will be a little bit clearer. But we'll come to what is rootkit. It is kind of malware itself. We'll come to that later. But the analogy we can use here is a rootkit. A rootkit is like a secret agent who alters official records to ensure evidence evidence to ensure or to erase, maybe not ensure. Erase is better one, right? Erase evidence of their presence. There is a lot of spy movies, right? When the opponent sent their secret agent to infiltrate the opponent from the secret agent site, they will delete all file, they will receive a whole new uh, identity, so that they cannot be connected to the other side that they are coming from their opponent. It is the same like a rootkit. Rootkit is like a secret agent who alters official records to erase evidence of their presence. The rootkit, they will get to the core of the system. They will, because every security mechanism that had been put in place by the defender based on the core of the system, they will function and follow some step. What is the rootkit is doing after gaining access to the core of the system, they will manipulate the configuration of files from the core itself. So by doing so, put in place some option. By doing so, the security mechanism or measure cannot detect the presence of rootkit in the system. But we will come explain in the section 2. Rootkit is another kind of the malware type. So the 10th mechanism, obfuscation mechanism, is fileless malware. Here, fileless malware resides in system memory rather than on the hard drive, using legitimate tools and processes to execute its code. Unlike other mechanisms, the fileless malware, they will not be copied or installed on the hardware. It will reside in the RAM memory, for example. So it can do that by using legitimate tools and processes to execute its code. If you use a good analogy here, you can say it like this: fileless malware is like a thief who manipulates a building's security system to gain access without leaving physical evidence. So here the goal is, for example, the malware, it will not be copied or installed on the hardware. If you do that, then we can detect it. It will leave physical traces, right? But if it runs in the RAM memory, it does not have any file like that, then the goal is to erase any physical traces that of the malware that being there in the first place. Fileless malware is like a thief who manipulate the building security. If you talk about, for example, a building has a monitoring system, right? Then before the thief goes in to the building, they will enable this monitoring system somehow. Then they go and do their job and come back and set up the monitoring system the way it was before. It is like they were never there. It is like they were never were there. So it is the same as fileless malware. They are not installed on the hardware, but they are doing their job on the RAM itself. Okay, so the last one is Stigano. I cannot pronounce this one right. Steganography. I'm sorry. Steganography. Steganography. I'm not sure. Steganography. Okay. It is the other obfuscation technique that can be used or employed by the malware. Steganography is the practice of hiding data within other. I'm not sure if I will start with explanation or with analogy. Okay, we'll start with explanation. Steganography, cannot pronounce it correctly, is the practice of hiding data within other. You have data, then you hide the other data in it. And they can achieve this by it involves embedding hidden information with a file, such as this file can be images. They can hide the malware code in the image, or it can be an audio file, or it can be a movie or video file, in a way that is not immediately noticeable. So the attacker has in its arsenal, it can be picture, it can be video file, it can be audio file. Here the attacker hide the malware code inside of them. When the target system or the victim, for example, click on the picture or play a video or audio file, then the malware is being installed. It is a way to avoid detection. You cannot notice it immediately if you are not looking in the right place or in the right way. Okay, the good analogy is here like hiding a secret message inside a seemingly innocent book. The message is embedded embedded in such way such a way that without knowing where or how to look, you wouldn't, or you don't have the ability, you wouldn't realize that there is anything unusual. I forgot how to write unusual. Unusual in the book. So this is basically steganography. I think I pronounce it correct, but I'm not sure. You can write in the commenting if it's correct or wrong. Okay, that was all. We have mentioned 11 mechanism or type of obfuscation technique that can be employed by malware. There may be new one or other one that I don't have any knowledge of. If you know, you can put it in the commenting area, then I will be very thankful, because here we help each other to learn from each other. And you may ask, what is next coming up? We are in the world of malware. It will be section 2, which will start with the malware types. The first type of malware that we are going to understand and gain some basic knowledge is spyware. If you do not have any question, then have a nice day. See you in the next video. Bye.